I want to welcome everybody to the Jazz Confusion Power Hour. My name is Mel Albin, and I'm your host. And the Power Hour this today is a special edition. We have had the Power Hour on for over a year. Every week, we have a featured artist, and it's on Thursday night at 7 o'clock. It's become kind of already a legendary show. I've had so many great artists on. I've had, Pieces of a Dream. I've had Eric Roberson, Annie Lennox. I've had Billy Ocean. I've had Brian um, Culbertson. I've had on so many fabulous artists, and tonight is no exception. We have a wonderful artist tonight. But first, I want to tell you a little bit about the Jazz Confusion Power Hour. First of all, one of the things that makes this show so intriguing is it's live. We broadcast a live streaming video, all of our shows, all day long. And we're one of the few stations on the internet or on FM that broadcasts live. And that's why we call it the Source TV radio network, because it really is a visual media as well as an audio media. I hope you really enjoy it. I hope you enjoy the live show. We also broadcast to over 38 million people globally each week. And we broadcast almost 3 million people in North America. And within the Washington, Baltimore, D.C. area, we broadcast to 160,000 people a week. So we are one of the largest radio stations on the East Coast. And again, I think it's because of the way in which our media works. We stream live, video, and audio. So tonight is the first night for our new website. I think all of you should take a look at it. It's source-tvradio.com. And you can find some great features on our site for music, talk radio, news, anything you might want to see is on our station. So again, I want to welcome everybody to the special edition of the Source Radio Network. We're a station and a media platform built for the 21st century. So I want to introduce you today to a wonderful artist that I'm so glad to have on this show. All right, I think you're all going to enjoy him a lot. His name is Johnny Britt, and Johnny is a multi-talented singer, songwriter, producer. He is an arranger, a composer. He's worked in the music industry and the entertainment industry. He's worked behind the scenes in the recording studio, live on stage. He's worked with some of the biggest artists in musical projects such as Josh Groban, David Bowie, Jennifer Lopez, The Temptations, Little Anthony and the Imperials, which we'll talk about more later, Maxwell, Peabo Bryson, Quincy Jones, Peter White, Paul Brown, Niall Nils, Gerald Albright, Norman Brown. I could go on and on. I mean, he has performed with almost everybody. So I guess I've given him the build up, and now we'll get to see him. So I want everybody to welcome our guest tonight, Johnny Britt.
Thanks so much,
Johnny,
man. How you doing, Mel?
how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing wonderful. Thank you so much, first and foremost, for having me on your show. It's an absolute pleasure. I've heard so much about what you're doing in your show, and congratulations.
Well, thank you so much. And it's people like you that make the show. I know I've had just so many great artists, and I always connected you with Little Anthony and the Imperials, but it's
Mhm.
been so many years, between Little Anthony performing I think I'm going out of my head. And
Yeah,
I kept hearing your name, and I kept saying, I know that cat. I know that dude from someplace. And then it hit me, and I said, God, I got to get him on my show. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's funny that you mentioned that because I'm singing a duet with Little Anthony on "Going Out of My Head," and it is on the ballot for Grammy consideration, and we're up for Best Pop Duo Performance. And I'm singing a duet with Little Anthony along with George Benson is playing guitar. And if you would have told me this years ago when I was standing on my garage in Cleveland, Ohio, singing "Going Out of My Head," pretending I was Little Anthony when he was on the Ed Sullivan Show, I would have never believed it. But I worked with him, been around the country with him several times. We just got off a 60 city tour, just got back. It's called the Happy Together Tour. And man, we killed it all over the country. And, to be a part of history like that,
Yeah.
really a dream come true for me.
Yeah. Well, good luck on the Grammy nomination. I'll vote for you.
Yeah, while we're on that subject, we're up for best pop duo performance with "Going Out of My Head." Johnny Britt and Little Anthony were best up for best R&B performance with "Butterflies," and that's with me and Will Downing. We're up for best R&B instrumental album, which is of course "After We Play." We're up for best R&B song, which is "Summer Love" featuring Gerald Albright and guest Krishan, and five were up for best video, which is "After We Play." So, we are independent, but we are strong.
Yeah, yeah. But we're going to talk about that too. I want to talk with you because you've been in the industry for a while and you've seen all the changes I've seen. And I want to spend a little time talking about the nature of music today, the music industry, and maybe where you see it heading, what you think is good and bad. So we'll get into that a little bit later also. But I'd like to start off. Now you've gone through your Grammy nominations, which is thrilling to have you on. But what else is cooking? You have new music in the works. You have concerts coming up. You want to talk about?
So much cooking. There's so much to talk about, and I'm so happy. One thing I really want to stress that I'm going to be in the DC area, right in your backyard, right near your studio. I'm going to be at the Wells Springs Manor and Spa. It's 11311. Was it drum such lane? I can't pronounce it. Upper Marlboro. Look, I live in Los Angeles, but I'm coming. You can go to wellspringsmanor.com to reserve your seats, get tickets. But I'm really excited about this particular performance. It's very, very new. And it's predicated on my brand new book called The Soloist. And we're actually going to be shooting off this mini tour here in Los Angeles tomorrow night. And I am extremely excited. So if you are in the Los Angeles area tomorrow, or if you want to take a jet over here to LA tomorrow night in Hollywood, we're going to be rocking it at the Catalina Jazz Club, 8:30 p.m. And I'm so excited about it because, normally, all my fans around the world, they see me, Johnny Britt, my band, horn section, background singer is a whole big thing. But when this book came out, it took me, I would say 5 years to write this book. And a big shout out to Arlene Krieger, who is the writer on this book with me. When this book came out, and we called it The Soloist, it's my memoirs. My team, we all got together and we talked about, it would be really cool if you could do an acoustic concert series featuring the Soloist book and you as a soloist, Johnny Britt, featuring, your songs from your Grammy award-winning album, and just kind of merging that together. And it just kind of started marinating in the way we're going to do it. Just to let like the lights will go down, right? And it's just going to be me and a cajon player. I'm telling you.
Okay.
So the cajon player is going to come on stage and he's going to be doing like some little African beat because I'm all into the Afrocentric, the whole jazz,
Okay.
And then we have celebrity guest Pat Prescott, famous radio host out here in Los Angeles from 92.7 The Wave, and the actor Michael T. Williamson, who was Forrest Gump in the movie Forrest Gump. They're going to be reading my book. Why this cat is playing the drums, right?
That's cool.
So really exciting. We're going to touch on. I know you're going to ask me this, but it's in the book. What I started with Arsenio Hall, got discovered by.
Hold it up. I want to talk about it later.
They're going to be reading, just those little highlight excerpts of the book.
Okay, well, we're going to get to the book even quite a bit more later on because I have some things I want to ask you about that. But one of the things that I think is really incredible is the how your music has kind of evolved over the years.
Yeah.
And it's you do so many things that are unique. You played with so many different types of bands that and I think that's one of the things that's interesting about your style. So let's talk about the early years. How did you get into music in the first place? Was it in your house? With any musicians in your house?
Yeah. Absolutely, and I always it's really funny because this is my little cue code now because I have the book. I say it's in the book, so make sure. But no, no, no. On the serious side, I'm a natural singer. I know you see me holding a horn here, and a lot of people know me from my trumpet playing, but I'm a singer. I'm like a real singer, and I grew up in church, as most
Ah,
as most African Americans, and I grew up in my uncle's church in Cleveland, Ohio, which was called the House of God, which is the same name of the church that Marvin Gaye attended in his father's church in Washington D.C.
excuse me. Where did you live in Cleveland?
I lived in the Miles Heights area, right outside, close to Garfield Heights, in that area.
I lived in Shaker Heights.
Yeah, yes, near Shaker. Yeah, I went to
I lived in Westlake. I lived in Cleveland for quite a while.
yeah, 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 yes. I went to Woodbury for a short period of time. That's in the book as well. But in any case, no, it was the music. It was the church thing, right? And then then my mother used to listen, to R&B radio, and I would get in there with Little Anthony Imperials, of course, the Temptations, all these people that I'm working with, the Temptations, the Jackson Five, the whole thing, Cool and the Gang, and I just loved music. And I believe I started playing trumpet at 12 years old, and there
How
was
did you
no
choose? How did you choose the trumpet?
yeah, the way I chose the trumpet was that the back then, they would pass out a sheet of paper with instruments on. Okay, we're gonna start a music. I think it was the first year that this public school, Cranwood Elementary School, where I went to, they just started a music program. My first music teacher was Miss White, and they passed out a piece of paper, and I saw like the clarinet on the piece of paper. I said, but that has too many buttons. I saw a trombone. I said, well, that has a slide. That looks kind of strange. I don't know how I'm going to figure that out. But when I saw that trumpet, man, it had three valves. That's the reason why I chose it, because I'm like, that can't be that difficult to play. But then come the, and this, it's the most difficult instrument to
Yeah,
play.
yeah.
There's all these overtones and stuff. But that's how funny that is really how I picked up the trumpet.
Wow. Okay. And then you played in church. Did you play in public school in the orchestra, or band, or anything?
Yeah, oh yeah, and so basically, I started there, and like I mentioned before, I played in concert band, and I was in concert band with Arsenio Hall, and that's where I met him. He was a drummer at that time, a little chubby cat, and I was playing first trumpet in the band, and I could kind of feel that I had a little groove going on, and Arsenio and we started a band together actually, and we used to rehearse at his mother's house, and we used to go through the side door and rehearse in his living room, and just dreamed of becoming somebody from the inner city of Cleveland, and here we are. Of course, I went from there to Paris, France, where I studied with one of the best trumpet players in the world, Roger Dellmotte, at the Conservatoire de Versailles.
Is that
And
what you studied? You studied in France?
yes, sir, I studied in right outside of Paris, France, the Conservatoire de Versailles. Intense study on the trumpet, and then I've always wanted to play jazz, and I told him when I went to him, because it was a classical, it was a conservatory,
Right.
so playing all legit stuff. But I told him this is cool, but I don't want to sit in an orchestra and wait for 100 bars before I come in with three notes.
Right.
I thought I wanted to play. And so that was what I really liked about him. So he taught me the horn. He taught me, how to really get around on the horn, breathing, phrasing, and it all translates because music is just a language. You learn a language. I learned French. I speak fluent French. And then I got my jazz training just from hanging out in the clubs, and one of my teachers was the great Richard Williams. I got a National Endowment scholarship to study with him, which I met him in Paris, France. And these are like authentic bebop jazz cats. That hung out with Lee Morgan, Kenny Dillon. I mean, this is like the real kind of thing. So, when I got baptized into that, that was like no turning back.
Just one thing, I might have missed it, but what made you go to France to
Yeah.
study?
The way I got to France was that my sister Edna, who is my best friend in life, of course, my wife is, but I always looked up to her, and she went to the University of Louisville, and she met her husband, my brother-in-law, Remy Gallix, who's French, and they fell in love and got married. And he's French, so they I think his first job was in Paris, yeah. And so I remember when I was in the 11th grade, I went over for the first time for vacation, to France, and Remy's grandfather took me to see Maurice Andre. We're in the south of France, and that was the greatest trumpet player in the world. And we sat in the balcony, and I was like looking at this cat, and I think that was something that really transformed me, because I heard him play, and I think his son came out and played. It was all classical, but when I got back to the States, I really got in there and took it really, really serious, the horn.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very few people start off by playing at the conservatory in France, for their training, if they're American. So, I mean, you had some of the best.
Yeah, I was really blessed. And again, this book, when I finished the book, it's really therapeutic, because, you go through life so fast, and sometimes you kind of, forget about all that it took to get here, all that you've done in your life. Yeah. And it really is is kind of, I don't want to say fairy tale, but man, I can't believe it. I can't believe I studied in France. I lived in France.
Johnny, very few people start off when they're young with a dream to be. You had your dream to be, and you're fulfilling it, and so every day you wake up, you're doing what you love.
Absolutely.
I mean, and that's just a wonderful thing. And when you're doing music and you're incorporating other people into your world all the time, it's a wonderful thing. It's a great feeling.
It really is, Mel. And and I think, like, for me, I've always said, if I could just touch one person with my music, I'm really happy. But man, I have touched so many people. I mean, people come up to me and say thank you, because the music is powerful, man. And I'm just so happy. I've been blessed to write and arrange, play the trumpet, sing, and really touch people. I really, through my records and my live performances.
Well, that's wonderful, Johnny. What I want to do, I want to play an introductory video, so everybody can get to know you as a performer. So I'm gonna put on a video. Then afterwards, you can tell everybody about it and talk about some of the live concerts you've done and some of the people you performed with. Okay. So I'm gonna put it on right now. So we'll be back in a minute after I.
Mother, mother, there's far too many of you crying, crying. Brother, 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 there's far too many of you dying. We've got to find a way to bring some loving here today. This is for Marvin smiles. Yeah, yeah, yeah. This is for Marvin smiles. This is for Marvin smiles. When Marvin smiles, yeah. This is for Marvin smiles. Yeah. me, Johnny, what kind of music do you play? And I just tell them, it is what it is. So when I ask y'all that question, I want y'all to say it is what it is. Is that all right for y'all? I'm gonna say, is it hip hop? Y'all say it is. But if it's jazz, y'all say it is. You know, do you kind of get what I'm coming from, huh? Oh, right now I'm gonna make it clear. Johnny B's not new. I've been around for years. Highly respected amongst my peers for making good music people love to hear. Now some of y'all may be confused because of the style I choose. I mix hip hop, jazz, and R&B. Come on, y'all. 1, 2, 3 now. Is it hip hop? Say it is. Is it jazz? Y'all say it is. It R&B? Y'all say it is. Y'all call it what you want, baby. Is it neo soul on your radio? Now call it what you want, call it what you want, baby. Now I make music that feel good, and I don't care who could. That it bumping, I keep it jumping. Tell them Johnny B's back to youngin'. Him sound you never heard. It's up to you. Spread the word. Tell your mama, tell your friend. Come on, y'all. 1, 2, 3. Now is it hip hop? Is it jazz? Y'all say it. Is it R&B? Y'all say it. Now call it what you want, baby. Now is it neo soul on your radio? I'm gonna blow my horn for y'all. Come on, y'all, rock tonight. Yo.
Wonderful, Johnny. Great intro.
Thank you.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about that performance?
Yeah, you know, that was the Oxnard Jazz Festival that we did. And, you know, that was a combination of my Marvin Meets Miles album. I have a critically acclaimed album called Marvin Meets Miles. It's a concept album of what if Marvin Gaye and Miles Davis performed together. And I put it together on Marvin Meets Miles. And so when you heard What's Going On, that's the arrangement from the album Marvin Meets Miles. Then, of course, I did Marvin Meets Miles, the title track of that song. And I did my #1 hit song from my MoJazzin album called MoJazz, and it featured Norman Brown on the record. And that was my buddy Nils who played with me on that. And then we did Hot Fun in the Summer from my So Hot album. And that was featured my buddy Najee on the record, but we did it live here. And what else? We did The Way I Feel off the MoJazzin album, and that was with my my good friend Marion Meadows. And these are all like hit songs. And you know, that's part of my live show. Of course, it's that's what I was talking about. You know, normally when people see me, they see me with the horns and the background singers. But what I'm doing now, these acoustic concerts, it's just me on piano, trumpet, and singing with a cajon player. And I'm going to have Peter White tomorrow night in Los Angeles. But yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait to come to Maryland there on Friday at the Manor and Spa. And I can't wait to hit the stage tomorrow night.
Yeah, I'm going to try and catch that. You're going to be right in my backyard. I'm going to try and come over there on Friday and catch it. And I'm going to have it advertised all over my station. So I'm sure we'll get a lot of people coming out to see you.
Good. Thank you.
Yeah. I got another kind of question for you a little bit. And when was your first professional gig? How old were you when you went live publicly?
I was in a bongo group, and I was 7 years old. Was in a bongo group called the Courageous Young Men, and we did a local television in Cleveland, and that's when I did shows. And I was playing bongos. I played bongos. And it was a conga group, so it was like a bass conga, right? Mm-hmm. A baritone conga, right, and a tenor conga drum, and we were basically just playing rhythms. We had this one thing. I'm going back to school, because we was young. I'm going back. Hey, Johnny, yeah, man, what you want to be? I want to be a baseball player. I'm going back. I haven't sung that in years, but that was like, we had a little bongo group. it was headed by a gentleman, a living legend in Cleveland. He was blind. His name was Eddie Smoot, and Maurice Reedus was in the group. Willie McAllister. There was actually a documentary on Maurice called The Sax Man, and I went to Cleveland. We all kind of reunited, and a lot of people remembered us from when we were little.
Great.
Yeah.
That was your first professional gig. I want to just go back a little bit and talk about, probably it's one of your earliest. You started to talk about Little Anthony, and you're performing with him now. When did you first start playing with Little Anthony? When did that take place?
Yeah, I was. I've been with Little Anthony for like 11 years now, 10, 11 years. And the way that happened is, I do recording sessions out here. I've done a lot of movies and records, as you know. And a good friend of mine is a top singer out here. And he, of course, everyone knows I was a musical director for the Temptations. And they know, I was a music producer for the film, The Temptations, etc. But he had called me one day and said, "Hey, man, Little Anthony is looking for a musical director. Are you interested?" And I said, "Yeah, I'll check it out." So it was like, okay, well, here's Little Anthony's number. Give him a call. So I gave Little Anthony a call, and he said, "Hello," in a high voice. I couldn't believe it was him. It was Little Anthony. And so he was at the New Orleans Jazz Festival in the middle of an interview, right? And he says, "Oh yeah, man, let me call you back." This is what he said. Now a month goes by, Mel. A month goes by. And I called my friend Jim back again. I said, "Hey, man, this cat, Little Anthony, he never called me back." Jim said, "Call him again." I picked up the phone, called him again. "Hey, man, this is Johnny Britt." "Hey, man, how you doing? Man, there's so much going on." And he's just talking. He's like, "I'm going to have my manager get in touch with you." I said, "Okay." And they're going to give me the music because, it was for me to become the musical director, right? But they wanted to break me in on second keys, right? So, so I'm practicing, we're going to do Vegas, I think South Carolina, and that's where you kind of check me out and break you in or whatever and see what's going to happen. And then all of a sudden I got a call from the manager, and the manager says to me, "How's the rehearsal going?" I said, "It's going cool. Everything is going cool. Really beautiful. Little Anthony Imperial's great, arrangements, everything." And I'm playing all this stuff. Then he's like, "Can you sing the low note?" I said, "What?" He said, "Can you sing the low note?" I said, "Man, I'm a singer. I can sing the low note." He meant baritone, right?
Yeah.
So he put so much emphasis on that. I said, "Well, let me check out, these vocals." And so, I did. And then, they wanted me to sing the low note. I said, "Okay." Now, I don't know anybody, never met Anthony, nobody in the band, whatever. So I go to Vegas, and we had we go to sound check, and I'm back there on the second keys, and Anthony comes in first. "Hey, man, how you doing?" "Hey, man, how you doing?" He knows how the cats, old school cats. And all of a sudden, the Imperials came in, right? And it was two Imperials. And let me just go back just a wee bit. My wife asked me when I got the call, she said, "Do they want you to sing with them?" Because I'm a singer. I said, "No, I ain't trying to sing with them old cats." And so they hit the first song, probably "Shimmy, Shimmy, Cocoa Baba," whatever it was. And I'm like right there, going out of my head. I'm right there, outside looking in. I'm like right there. I can sing. I'm right in there. "Hurt So Bad." I'm in there.
I know every one of those songs.
Right.
I love them.
Little Anthony comes back and he gives me a high five, and with a big smile on his face. I don't know anything, And then one of the guys in the group says, "Welcome to Little Anthony and the Imperials," And I'm still like, we play in front of 1,000 people, and we get into the plane. Matter of fact, little Jimmy Scott was at that gig. I met little Jimmy Scott. He came back today. So we get on the plane, go to South Carolina, same thing. I'm playing the keys back there, but I know how to blend. You could tell if a singer can sing. So I'm in there, and I'm thinking, I'm like, I don't even know if I'm gonna see these guys again. So Anthony's like, "Man, I'm gonna have Anthony. I mean, Tony's gonna give you the music. You can do all the gigs. Like I'm thinking, like as a keyboard player, right? And so I'm home, and all of a sudden I get this call from Anthony, and he's like, "Mr. Britt," he's like, "You're better than advertised," and I have no idea where this is going. He says, "Man, the fellas really like you. They really like you," and he says, "And I'm crazy about you." I still don't know where this is going. I don't know where this is going. He's like, "I want to offer you the job to come up front with us." He says, "I want to offer you to come up front with us, being Imperial."
Yeah.
And I said, and I said, "Man, Anthony," I said, "Man, I have my own thing happening, man, And he said, "Well, that's all right." He says, "You keep doing your thing." He says, "I'll expose you to my audience. You keep doing what you're doing, but the offer is yours." And mind you, there's a whole bunch of other cats that want the gig, And so I said, "Well, let me talk to my wife about it." He said, "You go talk to your wife about it." And the places we played was cool because I'm used to that circuit with the temps and stuff. So it was like the same circuit. It wasn't ghetto. It was the money was there. It was right. It was cool. So we said, "Well, let's give it a shot." My wife and I said, "Let's give it a shot." And I will tell you, what happened was on that conversation, Anthony says, "Man, you sound like you're a first tenor," because my voice is a higher pitched voice. He says, "I'm going to move you to first tenor, and I'm going to bring Robert down to baritone." And that's like lights out because I'm a natural first tenor. I was struggling doing the low note. I was there, but it wasn't like natural for me, But now I'm in my comfort zone and, got with the guys. And, long story short, Anthony told me that since I was in that group, he said that they have never sounded better. So that was a great compliment. Wow. Mr. Little Anthony. So yeah, that's my experience with Anthony. And now just fast forward, he's disbanded the Imperials. He's not doing the Imperials anymore. He's solo. So I'm his vocal guy and he takes me everywhere he goes. And, I'll contract the girls, whatever, and put everything together. But that's what's happening.
Wow. That's a great story.
Thank you.
So, let me play that song now that you Grammy nominated for.
It's a Grammy. It's called FYC, for your consideration. So, if you're a Grammy member, that's the only way that you can vote. And if you are, we would love your consideration for Best Pop Duo Performance with Johnny Britt and Little Anthony. One of
the things I'm going to do, Johnny, after the show's over, I'm going to have you put up as a special event I'll link it so people can vote for you. I'm going to set it all up.
Yeah, you can't just sit. So I'll get. You can't.
I understand. You have to be Grammy.
Yeah, you can't say. Yeah.
No, I understand. I'll do it right. So let me play that for everybody so they can get a good taste of your music.
Yes, I think I'm going out of my head. Over you. Over you. I want you to want me. I need you so badly. I can't think of anything but you. Can't explain the tears that I shed over you, over you. I see you each morning, but you just walk past me. You don't even know
Johnny, that was just great.
Thank you.
That's good. That's fantastic.
I'm so excited about it. And out of all of the songs that we have for consideration, this is probably the toughest category because we're talking about pop music. But in my heart, I feel that we can get a nomination with this song if people really listen to it. Because for one, Little Anthony is an icon. He's 82 years old. He's still alive. The song is iconic. Everyone has recorded this song from Frank Sinatra, Luther Vandross, Annie Lennox, Wes Montgomery, Ella Fitzgerald, but no one has ever done this song as a duet with Anthony, and he's still alive. So, look, I'm not Warner Brothers Records. I'm not, we don't have millions of dollars to push this down people's throats. But if you listen to it for best duo performance, look, I'm thinking, how Tony Bennett and Lady Gaga, old and new, look, we don't have the dollars, and we're not them, but conceptually, it's the same type of thing, and I think that we are worthy of a nomination. And George Benson did it because he loves Anthony. All of us love Anthony.
Yeah.
And so anyway,
it's amazing. It's not just amazing that he's still alive. It's amazing he's still touring.
Well, no, it's amazing that he sounds as well as.
That's what I mean. I mean, he couldn't be touring if he didn't sound the way he sounds.
I'm talking about every night, every night, 60 cities. We are taking house on this song. Standing ovations on this song is. I've always thought, like, if we got a chance to perform this song in front of the Grammys, in front of the world on the big stage, it would be over if we got a chance,
Yeah, I get it. The song is phenomenal, and I think it's gonna get a lot of consideration. It's really a great song.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, but let's change gears a little bit. I want to talk about another group that I knew about this group, and I knew what the kind of interesting things they were doing. I didn't know what your role was in it until I started looking at it, and I see you all over this. And the group is Impromptu.
Oh, thank you.
So yes, what do you tell us about that? Yeah,
thank you so much for asking. Impromptu is my group. It's a group that I conceived, And I conceived that group. Now I'm a singer. I sing a la Marvin Gaye. And I play trumpet a la Miles. And I got the idea from Miles Davis when he did his doo-bop album with Easy
Yeah.
Mo B. It was the last album that he recorded before he passed away. And I just thought it was a great combination of the rap and the jazz, that kind of a thing. So I looked for a rapper. Long story short, I looked for, like, I auditioned 47 rappers, and I came up with the gentleman that finally became my partner with Impromptu, and we got signed to Motown MoJazz Records by Steve McKeever. And I always tell people, because we do have some classics. We're not a house note name like Maxwell or whatever. We came out and we're in that same area at the same time, D'Angelo, Maxwell, and them. But I'm very proud of what we did.
Yeah.
People to this day, and I play impromptu stuff in my shows. And it was funny because I was at Marcus Miller's concert last night, and Sekou Bunch, who played on our records, and we're just kind of talking about it. And he was just saying, Johnny, those are your songs. He says, because I kind of, I kind of stopped doing them in my shows, but now I'm doing them again because so many people ask about it.
Well, I want to know more about the music. I mean, you were combining hip hop, some rap, jazz. Why that fusion? What took you there? If you're a classically trained horn player.
Well, we were one of the first West Coast groups to ever do that, hip hop and jazz. And like I said, I'm classically trained, but I'm a jazz artist, right? So I am a jazz artist, right? And then, the hip hop came in, just like I said, I looked at Miles and Easy Mo B. That's where I got the idea from, right? And so, but we did it our way. We weren't Miles and Easy Mo B, but that's where the light bulb came on, And I just knew that it was a hell of a concept. Because no one else was doing it. There was no singer, trumpet player, and a rapper. There wasn't in the whole industry, right?
Yeah.
One of the problems that we had was they didn't know where to place us.
Where you go? Yeah.
You could find us in the hip hop section. You could find us in the R&B section. You could find us in the jazz section. They didn't know how to categorize us. So, but people around the world, I'm sure many of your listeners, they know and love Impromptu, and I'm just so proud that I did that record, and I'm very proud that I laid that groundwork, and I'm glad that I'm a soloist now. The title of my book. I was a soloist before Impromptu, because it was after I was the musical director for the Temptations. I was a soloist, and then I saw Miles and Easy Mo B. I got started the group Impromptu, but I think at heart I'm a soloist. I want to be on the stage by myself with my mic with the horn, and that's what I'm doing now. So I'm in the twilight, and I'm in the prime of my career.
When what you remind me the way you describe how you put Impromptu together, it reminds me of something Miles once said. He once said, "Anyone can play the note. What makes it jazz is how you play the note."
It's how you play it.
And that's what you did. You could take rap and mix it to a jazz, beat, and it was just fascinating how you brought those things together. I had never heard anything like it.
Yeah, well, it was just great because you do stuff, and for the world to receive it, like they did, I'm really happy. And really, my Johnny Britt stuff, it sounds like Impromptu. I mean, that was my music with Impromptu. So when you hear Johnny Britt, you're hearing Impromptu. And one thing I do want to say in regards to, since we're talking about Miles a little bit, the name of my album is called After We Play, and just like I got
right now.
Like I got the concept from Miles for Impromptu, which a woman named Cindy Salek at Motown came up with the name Impromptu. But when I was naming this album, I heard Miles Davis do an interview, and somebody was asking him something, and Miles said, "I'll tell you after I play." He said, "I'll tell you after I play," in his raspy voice, and I loved it, and I took it. I'll tell you after I play. I'll tell you after I play, and then of course it just turned into After We Play.
Yeah, well, tell me about the single, and tell me about you. Did you write and compose that? And I know you were lead. What was your role in that song?
And which song you're talking about?
After we play.
Well, first of all, it's a very easy question. I write and produce all of my music. So every song I write, every song I produce.
You chart and score for the band too?
Everything.
Wow. Okay.
And yeah, so that's my
And you do the mixing and mastering? I mean, you do the whole from beginning to end?
I have a team. I write and I produce. And I have mixers and I have masters, but I write and produce everything. Okay.
And you've always done that?
Yeah. I have 6 solo albums. Yeah.
But yeah, wow, to write and produce all of them, that's pretty amazing. And am I correct? But you played all the instruments on that?
Well, on that song, or
yeah, on that particular song. Am I wrong?
I play keyboards. I program, and I have a fantastic. We're like the Funk Brothers from Motown. They're on my records, and I play the keys all the time. My bass player is out of London, England. His name is Dean Mark.
Okay.
My drummer is out of Atlanta. His name is Marcus Williams, and my guitar player is out of Chicago. His name is Keith Henderson. That is the core of the Johnny Britt sound. And then I'll bring George Benson in or whoever. Like my brand new single is called Ocean Waves, and we brought in the great bass player out of Kansas City, and I'm just names are it's anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, but again, maybe I'm just wrong. But on that LP, didn't you play almost a lot of different instruments? That's what someone told me.
Yeah. Basically, my skill set is keyboards, horns, trumpet, flugelhorn, cornet. All the keyboards and all the vocals arranging. That's what I do. That's basically all. That's what I do.
Let me ask you this question: since you do all the composing, the writing, the charting, the scoring, you do the whole everything. How do you know when a song is finished?
I know, and I've been doing this a number of years. I mean, I've been doing this long before impromptu. I've been doing it. I have boxes upon boxes of cassette tapes of songs before, when they were like 4-track. I started on 4-track, 4-track, 8-track. So I've been doing this a long time. So I'm just really blessed to know when I have a song.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, every artist tells me something different. I had Brian Culbertson on.
Yeah.
He had told me that some songs he'll listen to after he finishes a song 100 times, and then he'll say, "Damn, I need a horn in there." It'll hit him. And other artists do one take, done. They don't want to deal with it after that. So it's interesting how different artists have a different approach to what they consider a finished product.
That's right.
Yeah. Let's play that. Let's play After We Play for everybody. How about that?
Okay, great.
Want to do that? Good. Let me pull that up, and then we can talk a little bit more afterwards. That's fabulous, Johnny. I love that. You know,
Thank-
I
And
love that.
no, thank you so much. I have a rehearsal. I don't know if you got the message. I'm gonna have to bounce off in a couple minutes.
Well, just okay then. Just tell everybody briefly about your Hollywood career in
Oh,
film.
it's basically I was a solo trumpet player on the movie Hidden Figures. A lot of people know me from my big scene in La La Land. In front of the
Nice.
Eiffel Tower, myself and Ryan Gosling. Just there. It was so that, but I've done several. Been blessed to do several film and motion pictures behind the scenes.
Okay,
So
if you want to leave everybody with one thing that you'd like them to know about your music, what would that be?
it's sincere.
Terrific. Johnny, look, I won't keep you. I know you have a rehearsal. There's a lot more I want to talk to you about. So we'll have to have you back on down the
Yeah,
road.
would love to come back. And again, I can't thank you enough. Don't forget, I will be there this Friday at the Well Springs Manor and Spa. Would love to see each and every one of you guys there if you're in the Maryland area. And of course, here in Los Angeles tomorrow at the Catalina Jazz Club. All that information is at johnnybritt.com. Follow me on Instagram. And everything is in Linktree. You know my whole life story. And check out my brand new book, The Soloist. And I hope to see you Friday, Mel.
I hope I see you too, Johnny. Again, have a wonderful, wonderful day, and it's a pleasure having you on the show.
Thanks for having me, bro.
Good. Thank you, and good night.